Well, energy analyst Chris Yelland from EE Publishers joins us on the line. Now, hello to you, Chris Yelland. A few days ago, you and I spoke when the concern around Tegeta and getting into winter without their coal supply was coming to the fore. I'm sure you were following closely what the Eskom acting CEO had to say. Are you any more convinced that we won't need candles this winter?
Yeah, I do believe that Eskom are very aware of the coal shortages and taking the necessary emergency measures. These are really a form of crisis management, buying short-term coal from wherever possible in order to ensure that the stockpiles do not run out and that we do not have load shedding. And the point is, there is plenty of coal in South Africa. In fact, mountains of coal at Medupi, for example, and mountains of coal, in Mpumalanga. The problem, of course, is to get this coal to the right place at the right time, at the right quality, and at the right price. And if you're prepared to pay the price of trucking coal in from Medupi, where there is a mountain of coal in the stockyard, and get it to the power stations that are where it's needed, there will not be a problem. And the point is that Eskom are going to do what is necessary, because the cost to the economy of not having electricity is very, very much higher than the extra cost they will have to pay to truck in this coal. So in the interest of the economy, Eskom are going to keep the lights on, I'm sure. One can never say for 100% sure, but I think the probability is very, very low that we will have load shedding and that Eskom will cough up and pay the price.
And ultimately the taxpayer will cough up and pay the price, I'm sure, as well, Chris. Let me ask you then, if I may, the acting CEO saying that only with certain anomalies taking place will the lights go out. What does that mean in the day-to-day running of Eskom? Does it mean we suddenly all turn on our heaters, or we all put on extra lights? What happens? What's an anomaly? What's an anomaly?
The kind of thing that will force South Africa into load shedding would be a very high and unexpected level of unplanned breakdowns of Eskom generation plant. And this can happen, and these breakdowns are kind of random. And if a number of breakdowns take place simultaneously, unplanned breakdowns, this could leave South Africa short of generation capacity, firstly to the extent where they have to start operating their emergency open-cycle gas turbines, which are very expensive to run and are usually run as a last resort. But if there is sufficient levels of breakdown that they cannot meet with their open-cycle gas turbines, then they have to curtail demand for electricity, and that really means switching off loads. In other words, asking their large customers to switch off certain loads or reduce loads, and in the worst case scenario to go into this rolling blackout situation where geographic areas of South Africa are rotated and switched off to try not to inconvenience one region too much all the time.
Chris, I'm going to take you back to a conversation that you and I had. I think it was 2015 when we had the terrible term load shedding, and it was called load shedding then. Half the problem was the maintenance of these power supplies, because they were being put under pressure as far as the power, the supply stations were concerned, and the blame was that they'd not been serviced correctly. That's why they were tripping. That's why we had the load shedding.
Yeah, there was a combination of factors at that time, but certainly inadequate maintenance was leading to very high levels of unplanned breakdowns.
Okay.
In the interim, Eskom has been trying to get to grips with this maintenance problem, and it's been helped in this respect by the fact that the demand for electricity is declining. And this gives Eskom sufficient space to switch off certain generators and do the deep-level maintenance that is required. If demand for electricity is high, Eskom is not able to switch off generators to do such maintenance without actually disrupting supply to the economy. So the fact is that there has been some space, and Eskom have put in a more rigorous maintenance regime, and that's a good thing. And they are, in fact, doing heavy summer maintenance. They usually do this maintenance over the summer months because demand for electricity is not as high as winter, and that gives them more space to do this maintenance.